So you're thinking about moving to Southwest Riverside County, and now you're trying to figure out one big question. Should you move to Murrieta or should you move to Temecula? And honestly, I get why this is confusing. Because on the map, Murrieta and Temecula are right next to each other. A lot of people talk about them together. They share a lot of the same regional lifestyle, and if you're moving from places such as San Diego, Orange County, Los Angeles, or even from out of state, it can be hard to understand what actually feels different once you live here. But even though Murrieta and Temecula are very close, they are not exactly the same. The day-to-day lifestyle can feel different. The housing can feel different. Even the price points can be different. And depending on your budget, your commute, and what you want your normal week to week to look like, one may fit you better than the other. So in this video, I'm going to compare Murrieta and Temecula and break down the biggest differences you should think about before you decide where to live. And if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in Murrieta, Temecula, Winchester, Menifee, Hemet, San Diego, or anywhere around Southern California, my contact information is in the description below. You can call me, text me, or send me an email, and I'll be more than happy to help you compare your options. Now, let's get into it. The first thing you need to know is that Murrieta and Temecula are very close geographically, but they do not always feel the same. Murrieta tends to feel a little bit more residential and suburban, while Temecula tends to have a little bit more name recognition, mainly because of Old Town Temecula, the wineries, restaurants, the shopping, and the tourism side of the area. Now, that does not mean Temecula is only a tourist town. A lot of the people live there full-time, raises families there, work there, and build their lives there. And it does not mean Murrieta is boring or has nothing going on, but generally speaking, when people compare the two, Murrieta often feels like the quieter residential option, while Temecula can feel like it has a little bit more activity, more destination appeal, and more of the well-known lifestyle features people associate with this part of Riverside County. So if you're choosing between the two, don't just look at the distance on the map. Think about, do you want to be closer to the wineries, Old Town, restaurants, and more of the Temecula lifestyle? Or do you want something that may feel a little more residential, quieter, and maybe more focused on everyday suburban living? That difference matters. The second thing you need to know is that Temecula usually has the stronger lifestyle brand. When people from outside the area hear about Temecula, a lot of them immediately think about wine country. They think about Old Town Temecula. They think about weekend trips. They think about the restaurants. They think about different events and that Southern California inland lifestyle that still feels connected to something unique. That's one of the reasons Temecula gets so much attention. It has an identity that people can recognize. And for some buyers, that is a big deal. They like the idea of living close to wineries, being near to restaurants and entertainment, and having that Temecula name attached to where they live. On the other hand, Murrieta may not have the exact same tourism identity, but that can actually be part of the appeal. For some people, Murrieta feels more practical, and it can feel like a place where you live your normal life, run errands, go to work, take care of your family, and enjoy your neighborhood while you still have Temecula right next door when you want it. So this really depends on what value you the most. If you want the lifestyle, name, the wineries, Old Town, and more of that destination feel, Temecula may stand out a little bit more. If you want to be close to all of that, but maybe live in a place that feels a little bit more residential, then Murrieta may make more sense. The third thing you need to know is that housing prices can be slightly different between Murrieta and Temecula. This can change depending on the neighborhood, the size of the home, the condition, the size of the lot, the school zone, the age of the home, and what part of each city you're looking in. So I don't want you to think every home in Temecula is more expensive than every home in Murrieta. That's not how real estate works. But generally, Temecula often comes in at a higher price point than Murrieta, especially because of the name recognition, the location, the amenities, and demand around certain parts of the city. Murrieta can sometimes give buyers a little bit more flexibility, especially if they are comparing similar types of homes and trying to stay within a certain budget. That's one reason why people compare these two cities so closely. They may start by looking at at Temecula, then realize they can find something that fits their budget even more in Murrieta. Or they may start with Murrieta and decide, well, that being in Temecula is worth paying more. Why not? It depends on their lifestyle. The key is not to choose based on price alone. A cheaper home is not always the better choice if the location does not fit your life. And a more expensive home is not always worth it if you're paying for things you don't really care about. So before you decide, compare the full picture. Look at the home, look at the area, the commute, the lifestyle, and what you are actually getting for your money. The fourth thing you need to know is that Murrieta may give you more of that residential neighborhood feel. For a lot of people, this is one of the main reasons they like Murrieta. They want a place that feels calmer. They want a neighborhood where things feel more spread out. They want access to parks, shopping, schools, and everyday convenience without feeling like they're always in the middle of the busier parts of the region. Murrieta can be a really good fit for someone who wants that kind of lifestyle. It's not trying to be a major downtown city. It's not trying to be a beach community. It's not trying to be like LA, San Diego, or Orange County, but it has more of that inland suburban feel. And for the right person, that is exactly what they want. But if you're someone who needs a lot of nightlife, restaurant right outside your door, or a more active entertainment scene, then certain parts of Murrieta may feel too quiet for you. That's why you need to know yourself before you choose the area, because Murrieta can be a great fit, but mostly for people who actually want the kind of lifestyle Murrieta offers. The fifth thing you need to know is that Temecula may feel more active and entertainment driven. Again, this does not mean Temecula is a big city. It's still a suburban area. But compared to Murrieta, Temecula often has more of the restaurants, the wineries, the tourism, events, shopping, and destination lifestyle activities that people talk about. Old Town Temecula is a big part of that. The wineries are a big part of that as well. The shopping and dining option are a big part of that. And for some people, that makes Temecula more exciting. Now, if you like having more things to do close by, if you enjoy restaurants and weekend activities, and if you want to be closer to the more well-known parts of Southwest Riverside County, then Temecula may stand out to you. But there is a trade-off. Areas with more activity can also come with more traffic, more visitors, more demand, and sometimes higher prices depending on where you're looking. So it's not just about which city sounds better, it's about what kind of daily lifestyle you want. Some people love being closer to activity, while other people want to be close enough to visit it, but not necessarily live right in the middle of it. That's one of the biggest lifestyle differences between Temecula and Murrieta. The sixth thing you need to know is that traffic and commuting should be a major part of your decision. Now, this is one of the biggest things people underestimate when moving to this area. Murrieta and Temecula may look very close to each other, but depending on where you live, where you work, and the time you're driving, your daily commute can feel very different. Now, if you work locally or work from home, this may not be a major issue. But if you're commuting from places such as San Diego, Orange County, Riverside, Los Angeles, or another part of Southern California, you really need to test the drive during the extra times you would be on the road. Don't just check on the map on a Sunday afternoon. Check it during the morning commute. Check it during the evening commute. And check what it feels like during the times you would actually be driving. Because in Southern California, the difference between a good commute and a bad commute can totally change how much you really enjoy where you live. The Murrieta may make more sense for certain commute routes. Temecula may make more sense for others. And sometimes the specific neighborhood matters more than the city name. So before choosing between Murrieta and Temecula, make sure you look at the commute honestly. The seventh thing you need to know is that both Murrieta and Temecula are inland. So the weather is something to consider. Now, if you're moving from areas that is coastal, like San Diego, Orange County, or another area closer to the ocean, you need to understand that this part of Riverside County can get hotter. You're not getting that same coastal breeze. You're not getting getting the same marine layer. You're not getting the same beach weather people often imagine when they think of Southern California. Now, a lot of people love the weather here, as we know. You get sunshine, mild winters, and a lot of days where you can be outside. But during the summer, it can definitely get hot. And what matters when you're choosing a home, you may want to think about things like solar, energy efficiency, insulation, shade, HVAC age, and how the home feels during those hotter months. This is true in both Murrieta and Temecula. So if you are comparing the two, don't think of one as coastal and one as inland. They are both inland communities, and the summer heat is part of the lifestyle. The 8th thing you need to know is that Temecula may be better if you want the name recognition. Some buyers care about this, believe it or not. They like the idea of saying, hey, I live in Temecula. They like the wineries. They even like the reputation. And some like the lifestyle image. And for some people, it doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with that. Real estate is not just about bedrooms, bathrooms, and square footages. It's also about how an area feels, how people talk about it, and what kind of lifestyle you associate yourself with. Now, Temecula has a strong identity. So if that identity matters to you and your budget allows it, then Temecula may be worth considering. However, Murrieta may not have the exact same name recognition, but it can still be a great place to live if it fits in your lifestyle. And for some buyers, that is actually the better value. They would rather be close to Temecula, but live in Murrieta if it gives them the home, location, and lifestyle that makes sense for them. So again, it comes down to what you care about the most. And moving on to the 9th thing you need to know is that Murrieta may be better if you want practical everyday living. What I mean by that is simple. If your main priorities are neighborhood feel, space, convenience, access to nearby cities, and possibly more flexibility in your budget, Murrieta may make a lot more sense. You're still close to Temecula. You're still in Southwest Riverside County. You're still close to shopping, restaurants, services, and freeway access depending on where you live. But you may find that Murrieta gives you a little more of that everyday residential feel. And for some people, that is exactly what they're looking for. They don't necessarily need to live in the more recognizable city. They just want the right home in the right area for their lifestyle. And if that sounds like you, Murrieta may be a better fit. But if you want to be closer to the wineries, Old Town, more of the restaurant scene, and the lifestyle identity that Temecula is known for, then Temecula may be worth a closer look. The 10th and final thing you need to know is that the best choice depends on your lifestyle, not just the city name. This is the biggest point I want you to take away from this video. Murrieta is not automatically better than Temecula. Temecula is not automatically better than Murrieta. They're both good options for different reasons. Temecula may be a better fit if you want more name recognition, more activity, closer access to wineries and Old Town Temecula, and you're comfortable with the price point. On the other hand, Murrieta may be a better fit if you want a quieter residential feel, possibly more flexibility with housing, and you still want to be close to Temecula without necessarily living in the middle of it. But the right answer depends on you, your budget, your commute, your lifestyle, your family needs, your daily routine, your long-term goals, and the kind of Southern California lifestyle you actually want to live. So before you choose between Murrieta and Temecula, spend time in both. Drive the neighborhood, go to the store, test the commute, see where you naturally feel more comfortable. Because when you do that, the decision usually becomes a lot clearer. So if you're thinking about moving to Murrieta, Temecula, Winchester, Menifee, Hemet, San Diego, or anywhere around Southern California, I'd be more than happy to help you compare your options. Every city has its own pros and cons, and the right choice really depends on your budget, your lifestyle, your commute, and what you want your day-to-day life to look like. Now, my contact information is in the description below. You can call me, text me, or send me an email, and we can talk through what what you are looking for and which areas make the most sense for you. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel because I'll be making more videos about living in Murrieta, living in Temecula, moving to Riverside County, and what it's really like to live in Southern California. And please remember, no excuses. Your keys, my mission. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. This is LG, God bless, and I'm out.